All right, so we were talking about why did you have that look on your
Do we have to do
face?
3 claps? Is there, or can you just do 1 clap?
You can. It's easier to find and easier to line up if you
Okay.
do 3.
Yeah, because I knew that's how you lined it up was with the claps, but I didn't know if there was a significance to the 3.
Yeah, it just makes it easier.
Okay.
Yeah. It's that's another adjustment that I have made over time.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so new equipment, we have all new settings. We've been fucking around with the settings here for a while, everybody. Gathering of Fools, PJ Hammer's on.
Hello.
But yeah, so yeah, now we have the gain turned up. So what gain is how much you're going to pick up outside the range, like how much space you're going to pick up sound from.
Oh.
You get what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically how much noise this thing will take in.
Yeah, so is that, like, if you would turn it way up, would you not have to be as close to the mic?
Yeah, but it would also pick up
All the
everything
other
outside.
echo, everything like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, weird.
So we actually do have it pretty far up with the new mics on the box, but turned down some on the machine. Eventually, I'm going to have a day where I just play with all the settings
Right.
and figure out what's best. I just haven't had time to do that yet.
yeah,
Oh, man. But yeah, so what do you think of the new digs?
it's sweet. Like I said, I definitely like it. It's a small space to begin with, so you got to work with what you got. It's hard to pull everything together, but it worked out well.
Yeah. Hey, you know what's funny is I was watching Fighter and the Kid. Have you ever watched that podcast?
Mm-mm.
So actually, first I should mention PJ got me this sweet cup for Christmas.
Yeah.
And it's the first time I'm using it. It is actually made out of a bat.
Yeah, made out of a real bat.
That's ridiculous. And the beer tastes just as good out of wood. So
I
that's
hope.
a plus.
Yeah, I was surprised. It said, like, you could drink hot or cold out of it. I wouldn't have thought that you could, like, I don't know why you would want to drink coffee out of a fucking baseball bat, but...
Well, I'm also curious, like, what kind of coating they put on there to
Right.
make it so that it doesn't fuck
Like,
with the wood.
are you going to have polyurethane in your coffee?
Right. Or just in general, like, am I going to be poisoned now from
Right.
drinking this?
I would hope not. Just a little bit of lead.
Just a little bit of lead. It creates for a nice buzz. Oh, man.
Hope you ate paint chips as a kid.
And you got a new sweet truck.
I did. It's pretty awesome. It's
Yeah.
2016 F-150.
Nice.
It's yeah, it looked like nobody had ever even freaking sat in the thing, though. It was super nice.
Well, it looks brand new.
Yeah, like I said, there was
Yeah.
not a scratch on it. Had every single thing I wanted. So
Yeah.
it worked out well. It's such a pain in the ass buying anything.
Yeah. It's funny. Everybody I know is getting trucks now. Even young Jacob over there, he got himself a truck.
Yeah, that's what he was just saying. I originally I had to be a little bit more specific too because I knew I wanted to buy a camper. So I was like, well, I got to get the truck to haul the camper.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to buy that first.
Yeah, I forgot you bought a camper.
Yeah, it's freaking sweet.
Have
That's
you
what we've
guys-
been doing. We've been getting it all ready. No, we just booked our spot out at Tappan for the summer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because we're like 25 minutes. We could be at our campsite. So if we have it set up there all summer, even if I just have the one day off, I can take Violet out there just to hang out for the day. I don't have to spend half a day getting it all set up and everything.
right.
You know what I
It's
mean?
just there and ready to go.
Right.
I dated a girl once who her family did that
Yeah.
out there. And honestly, it's fun.
Well, that's what one of the girls that Lacey works with, her family's got a camper out there, and so we took Violet out a couple times last year, and she freaking loved it. It's just
Yeah.
so nice to have something to do being outside. But that's part of what was crazy too is, that's like one of the only things you can really do. I mean, more stuff's opening now, but especially over the past year, if it wasn't outside, you wasn't able to do it anyways.
Yeah.
So to get into Tappan, they have a lottery system. So there's actually 2 lotteries for them. Anybody who camped there last year, they have the first lottery, and so all the available spots, you can either, if your number gets called, you can either pick a different spot that's available, or you can choose to keep your spot. And then the second lottery is for anybody who who didn't camp there last year,
Yeah.
trying to become a permanent camper. And so when we were in the second lottery, obviously, and there was 22 available sites left for the second lottery, and there was 90. They capped it at 90 people trying to get
Oh,
spots.
shit.
Yeah, so luckily once we heard those figures, we were like, there's almost no way we're going to get picked anyways.
Yeah.
So we called like 2 weeks before the lottery, and we're like, hey, because they keep some spots as available for weekenders so that they don't completely fill up for the whole season. We were like, can we rent one of the weekender spots for like 2 or 3 months at a time?
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, you can do that. I mean, it's obviously more expensive, but the only spots that were even left in the second lottery was because there's 5 different campgrounds there. We didn't want to be in the campgrounds that were left anyways.
Yeah.
And we got a spot in the campground that we wanted to be in, which
Nice.
was close to the lady that we know anyway. So
Yeah.
that way we can, we're only
Associate.
like a block.
A block, whatever that
campground
is.
streets block away from their campsite, so it's sweet. We got exactly what we wanted, basically. And then we didn't end up getting called for the lottery anyway. Surprise, surprise. But
Yeah. Now you need a golf cart.
so I hit up Mom because she's got that golf cart that they used to use for the business.
Yeah. They don't really need it anymore.
Right. And so she said that she would sell it to us. And I went out and looked at it the other day, but like, you have to have like a specific battery charger for it, and then there's freaking 6 batteries in this thing. And so I was looking at it, and her battery charger wasn't working. I don't know anywhere near enough about anything electrical to try to fix something like that.
You
So
just end up shocked.
the battery charger itself was like $250, and then each battery. So if I could get the battery charger, who knows if all the batteries are still good too? You can't just replace one of them. I would have to replace all 6 of them, and they're $80 a piece.
Yeah.
So I'd be spending almost $600-800 right there.
Yeah.
And then whatever she would want to charge me for the actual golf cart, I was like, that's not worth it. Like we can walk from site to site.
Yeah,
Like
why
I'm
don't
not
you
worried
just-
about that.
Why don't you just give it to me?
Or I'll get a bike or freaking hoof it. Like
It's a block.
yeah.
Block.
Right. Like I'm not worried about it like that.
That's really cool though. I love during Christmas, Lacey told me like it was also for, I think it was Christmas. I can't remember. Oh no, it was for at the birthday party for Bronson and Ruby.
Oh, okay.
She said it was also for survival reasons, and only certain people would be allowed. And she wasn't sure I made the cut.
Oh, yeah. She's rough.
She is. I love her. I actually call her sister. But I tried to explain to her that I'm the only one that actually went through survival school.
She's still gonna make you earn your spot.
Yeah.
That's there's no givens with her.
Well, and then I said, and I'm really good with the cold. And I was thinking like, so if I had to go and like hunt for everybody, I'd be the person to like send out or whatever. And she was like, oh, so you could be like the first person we kick out and it'd be fine. And I'm like, wait, what?
She sees all the angles.
Yeah. All the angles seem to lead to my death.
Well, like I said, you got to earn that spot. Once you earn it, you got to keep earning it. You're not just on the team anymore. There's no tenure with her.
Yeah. I feel like she's going to make sure that everybody else is doing all of the work.
She's the head one in charge. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
There's no denying that.
Is that how it is at the household too?
Can you imagine it being any other way?
No, I can't. That's great.
No, she runs the house. That's a given.
Yeah. I actually just saw some news today. I thought you might be the perfect person to talk to. So it looks like 2021 might be saying hold my beer to 2020. Because I don't know if you saw, there was a volcano eruption in Iceland.
I did not see that. That's wild.
And there was also now a like 7 something on the Richter scale earthquake in Japan. And there's a tsunami warning.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. So we have a volcano eruption, an earthquake, and a possible tsunami all within 2 days.
Yeah. Well, so did the earthquake cause the tsunami? Isn't that kind of, don't they correlate? That's what I
Yes,
thought.
that's
Yeah.
why there's a tsunami warning is because of the earthquake. But still,
Right.
and that's a huge earthquake.
Yeah.
So that's just crazy to me. Like, is the world coming to an end, PJ?
Shit. I mean, who knows? It's been fucking wild. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. You're actually a ER nurse. You're still in the ER right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're an ER nurse, and so you've been going through it with all the COVID.
It was wild. Luckily, that stuff has definitely started to peter down. I mean, we still see it.
Yeah.
But man, it was wild there for a while. We were completely overrun. So there was, in our hospital, we have the ICU, and then the CV ICU, the cardiovascular ICU for like the open hearts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then we have another floor where there's a whole nother ICU department that before COVID and everything, we didn't even have open.
Yeah.
We never even used it for the most part. When COVID got really bad, we converted 2 of those 3 ICUs to COVID ICUs.
Okay.
And it still wasn't enough. We had to make a makeshift COVID ICU in the ER.
That's fucking
so
crazy.
we were, and normally in that situation, if our ICU would be full and we get another ICU patient in the ER, and obviously there's nowhere to put them upstairs, we would have to ship them to a higher level hospital, mostly Pittsburgh, just because they're the closest big city hospitals. But it wasn't just us that was overrun. Everywhere was. So, like, we didn't have anywhere to send these people. Like, we had to keep them in the ER. It was wild.
That's what's crazy to me, too, is, like, so many people say, like, oh, the media was playing it up, which they were to an extent. But also, people weren't understanding what their local hospitals were going through at the same time.
Right.
Like, because the media actually wasn't really covering what was happening at the local hospitals that much, at least in our scenario around here.
Right.
Because you would talk to people and like, oh, it never even touched us here. Like, well, no, it did.
Right. Well, and then there was 2 sides to the coin, too. So, yeah, we were overrun with a ton of really bad COVID people. So we had, like I said, 2 out of our 3 ICUs were COVID. We had one entire floor, and then most of our floors have like 3 wings.
Yeah.
1 entire floor, and then 2 wings of another floor were converted to ICU floors just for, like regular telemetry patients, not ICU patients.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, we still had the makeshift ICU that we had in the ER, and then you have, whatever other patients you have, just non-COVID people. So you're just constantly full. So even if we didn't have COVID patients, even if all the COVID floors weren't full, the other floors were full. So we were still housing other patients in the ER. So like sometimes you run into scenarios, especially in small community hospitals, where all the floors are full. So you have to house the admitted patients in the ER still.
Yeah.
So then you're cutting down on how many beds you have in your ER to treat ER patients.
Just without COVID, just regular
Yeah,
ER.
just regular ER patients,
Yeah.
because we have patients that are technically admitted, but they're in an ER room because we don't have anywhere to put them.
Yeah. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it was wild. And then, like I said, you had the 2 sides of the coin too, where once COVID was in like real full swing and starting to come down even, then you had the people that were so afraid of dealing with or being exposed to COVID that had all these other chronic conditions like, diabetes, CHF, heart problems, anything under the sun, that weren't doing the regular things that, the regular checkups, the getting seen for small issues.
Right.
Because they were afraid, and then you get to the point where they've waited too long now, and now they're full-on emergency ICU patients because
not with COVID, just
with their other chronic conditions
because they didn't want to come in,
because they were trying to do the right thing.
Yeah,
but they took it to the other end, and so like I said, so there for a long time after the COVID started to calm down, our regular ICUs were overrun. So then we were having regular ICU patients in the ER because, admitted, but having to house them in the ER because, again, it wasn't just happening here. It was the same thing that happened everywhere. So Pittsburgh was full. All their regular ICUs and their COVID ICUs were full. So we couldn't send them anywhere either. Technically, at our hospital, it's a rule where I believe it's 2 to 3 hours. If we can't guarantee an ICU patient a bed in 2 to 3 hours once they come into the ER and are admitted while they're in the ER, you have to send them out. It's just
you just kick them out.
Well, no, we have to send them to a different hospital, to a higher level of care where they can actually get them a room.
I was going to say harsh
because the nurse to patient ratio is different when it comes to ICU patients. I believe the national standard for ER nurse to patient ratio is 4-to-1. So each nurse can have 4 patients safely.
Right.
ICU is 2-to-1. So you can only have 2 patients to 1 nurse safely.
Yeah.
And if you're in the ER, that's just not always possible. You can't cap in the ER. You can't say, "Oh, we can't take any more patients."
Yeah.
You line beds in the hallways.
I was just
place
going to
people
say.
in
So what
seats,
happens if you got nowhere to go?
Put them somewhere.
You find a place.
Find somewhere to put
You're
them. I mean,
sitting
you have
in
to.
this corner.
Right.
Yeah.
There was lots of times when this was full swing in the midst of this craziness where, so our ER has 2 sides. There's 13 rooms on side 1, and it's 14 to 28 on side 2. So there's technically 27 rooms because 23 doesn't exist. That's like a doctor's lounge, more or less.
Okay.
So 27 rooms.
Greedy ass doctors taking up a fucking room.
So 27 rooms. And then on side 1, in the main hallway, we keep like 4 to 5 beds in the hallway, and there would just be ambulances lined up, putting people in those beds in the hallway. It was wild for a while.
Yeah, that's fucking nuts.
Like I said, luckily things have started to calm down on both sides of it, so we're no longer having to house ICU patients in the ER for the most part. Periodically, every once in a while, something crazy will happen, but
yeah. So because first of all, I saw you when you came home Christmas night, and you looked exhausted. We still ended up having some fun.
Oh,
yeah. But you look exhausted, but you could see the imprints on your face.
Yeah, so
what all did you have to wear?
So when this went into full swing, everybody was just... Things changed every day. What you had to wear, what was acceptable, how it could be, how easily things could be transmitted. I mean, everything was just so new. Nobody exactly knew what you needed and what you didn't need. Our hospital, we did, they're called N95 masks. They even sell them even at like Lowe's and stuff. It's like, I think most people use them as like painting, not even just painting masks, but like even if you're like sanding and things like that.
Yeah.
But the thing that most people don't realize about them is you have to actually be fit tested for them. So once a year, all employees that work in certain departments have to be fit tested for their N95. You have to go to work care. There's 2 different sizes and a couple different brands. And they have this spray where you put on your mask. It has a rubber seal all around here, and then they spray this stuff, and you have to take a real big breath in. If you can taste it on your lips, then you fail, and they have to find something else that works for you.
Yeah.
And then worst case scenario, if for some reason none of the options that we have work for you, we have these things called PAPRs, and it's basically like a big hood with a little machine that goes on your hip that's constantly creating it's actually positive pressure is what it would be, I believe, where it's constantly influxing air. And so it's any air that could be coming to you from the outside is going through this filter in this pack, and then being blown out of the mask.
Okay.
So no outside air can come in because they don't fit
no outside air can come in without going through
through that filter. Because they're not like when I say like a big like hood, they're not like there's no like on the other ones you have the seal, so that's why you're getting it is things get filtered through the mask and then you can blow out through the mask. But the other one, there's no seal on it, so you have to create that positive pressure where air is constantly blowing out all of the openings of it.
Yeah.
So that no air can leak in those openings.
Yeah. Fucking wild. So you're walking around like the movie Outbreak.
Yeah. Luckily, I passed my fit test on my mask, which sucked though, because once a year I have to shave into a goatee, and during the whole COVID thing, I had to keep a goatee for the most part because it has to fit.
Yeah.
Like right past where the goatee sits.
Yeah, it's crazy. Your beard's back full strength though.
Yeah, I freaking hate shaving, and man, they'll hassle you with it too. I've went there before where I shaved the night before, and the next morning I go in to get fit tested. They're like, oh, that's you gotta go shave. That's too much. I'm like, bro, am I gonna be shaving like halfway through my shift?
Yeah.
Like, if this mask won't handle 8 hours of stubble,
yeah,
like,
then it's worthless.
right? Like I can't shave during the shift, guys. Like I
I don't have time for that. I actually there was times in basic training where I had to shave like twice a day, basically. Like I would shave like the night before, and then like at like 5, they'd be like, "What's going on with your face?"
That was just like the strictness of them, though, right? Like you guys didn't have to worry about any, because like when you were on the plane, you didn't have to wear. Did you have to wear like any kind of respirator or anything like that?
No, I mean we might have to, but but that is why the military makes you stay clean shave, is for the purpose of
and that's
gas
the same
mask.
thing with firefighters. Do the same thing, where that's the reason why they're only allowed to have a mustache is
Yeah.
because of their respirators of how it fits.
Yeah. Fucking crazy. I can't believe how many people didn't know that the hospitals and stuff were overrun.
Oh yeah, it was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so glad that it's finally calmed down a little
Dying
bit.
down.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
For 8
It's-
months, I probably worked 5-6 days a week.
How excited were you for the vaccines?
I actually haven't gotten mine. I mean, it was. Don't get me wrong. Most of the people that were really freaked out about the vaccine were, so diehard about, it's brand new. We don't know anything. They haven't tested on enough people, and in a sense, yes. But the technology that they use to develop it, the mRNA or whatever they use to develop it, has actually been around for like 30 years. They've used it for other vaccines to develop other things. So the technology that they used wasn't new.
Right.
It's just this specific need was new.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand some of that fear. I would still get it, the vaccine, but I understand that fear because the thing is you just don't know. There's no test to know the long-term effects.
Right. And honestly, I mean, that's a lot of the trouble that we ran into with every aspect of COVID. Everything about it was so brand new that we just treating it wise was so crazy and different. Like when we had these patients that were in the COVID ICU, we did stuff that I just would have never even thought that we were going to do, or that I was even going to do as a nurse. So what the main breaking edge thing that seemed to help most of the really, really bad patients was, we called it, you rocked and proned them. So we use this drug called rocuronium. It's a paralytic. And so you paralyze the person while they're intubated and then flip them on their stomach and let them sit on their stomach paralyzed for, I think they usually did like anywhere from 8 to 16 hours at a time. And then you would flip them back on their back. And just all the little intricacies that go along with that were wild because
that's crazy, because I think most people probably just think like moving the body is going to blow people's minds, because most people probably just think, okay, you give them an IV of whatever vitamins or drugs or whatever they need, and if they have to be intubated, they get intubated. But I don't think anybody ever thought about moving them around.
Right. Well, so there are these things that have been around for a long time called rotoprone beds, and they actually specifically do that, where they literally rotary style prone you. Onto your stomach. Us being a small community hospital, we don't actually have any rotoprone beds, so we just basically did a makeshift version of it where we would just
nurses.
Literally, we physically would have to get like, depending on how big the patient was, 6 to 8 people, and you have to, as carefully as possible, move this person and flip them onto their stomach, all while, you got 15 lines coming off of them, and then their lifesaver, the tube that's keeping them breathing. Obviously, you want to make sure that nothing happens with that. Like there was just so many aspects, and then also too, they're not only are they paralyzed, but they're sedated. So that, if you are, an arm is bending a weird way, like they're not gonna be able to tell you, like, oh, don't bend me like that. That hurts.
Right.
Like there's a lot of subtle things that you really had to pay attention to.
Really subtle, because they're also on a paralytic, so you can't even they can't tell you because they're intubated, but also they're not going to have a jerk reaction. They're paralyzed.
Right, and it was really wild. So with the paralytic, to get the dosing of it right, we used this. What the hell was the thing called? It was it's this. Shit. It's like this thing that sends electrical signals, and you would put 2 electrodes on their wrist, usually along like their ulnar nerve here.
Yeah.
And you would send these jolts of electricity through there, and their hand would twitch.
Yeah, yeah.
And so how many twitches you saw on their hand was how you dosed their drip of the paralytic agent. Yeah, it was wild.
I don't even understand how that works.
It was the wildest thing. And like I said, all of this was so new that, it's all just not necessarily being played by ear, but, trial and error. And,
right. Well,
and then different people take different doses, and it's a wild thing.
And I think that's something that people didn't understand with this COVID situation at all, was the fact that it is new. So when people are like, oh, they told us this at first, and now they're telling us this. Well, yeah, man, that's how the scientific process works.
Right. I used to shit my pants, and then I learned how to, use a toilet.
Right. So, literally, at first, it looked like this was the route to go. And then as you receive more information, you adjust that thought process.
Right. It's not flip-flopping when you learn.
Right. Right. It's not. We're not flip-flopping. We have new information because it's been here longer now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what was the other thing I was going to say? One with that, then the other one. Oh, what? So vitamin-wise, drug-wise, stuff like that, what seemed to be the best cocktail, if you will?
Well, so
it's obviously going to be different for different people.
Yeah, and so it also depended on what stage. So there was this one infusion. We called it BAM, a BAM infusion. It was this whole big long name, but BAM was like the first 3 letters of it. Where you had to qualify, you had to meet certain criteria where you were early enough in your exposure and not bad at it. Basically, if you were exposed and you met certain criteria and you weren't bad enough to be admitted, you could receive this infusion, and it was supposed to almost be kind of like Tamiflu is for the flu.
Okay.
Where, usually with Tamiflu, you give it, especially with little kids, you would give it to kids within the first however many days of exposure or onset of symptoms, and it's not supposed to be like a treatment to cure it, but it's supposed to lessen the symptoms and lessen the amount of time that the symptoms take to go away.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was almost supposed to be kind of like a Tamiflu, but for COVID.
Yeah.
And obviously, in the ER, we don't get a whole lot of follow-up.
So do you know what actually makes up Tamiflu by any chance?
No, actually, I don't. It's an antiviral. I know that.
Okay.
But yeah, so it was another type of like antiviral kind of thing. But that's the thing with it being a virus, it's not a bacteria, so no antibiotics are going to fight it. With any virus, most things are about treating the symptoms and letting your body fight it off.
Yeah.
Just kind of waiting it out, letting time run its course. So
do antibiotics help some of the symptoms or no?
So a lot of the people, especially the ones that were bad enough to be intubated and things like that, you're going to end up getting some sort of IV antibiotics just because you're going to develop bacterial pneumonia.
Yeah.
It's just it's almost like a symptom of it, because things get so bad in your lungs, you're going to get fluid in there, you're going to get bacteria in there. So you're going to need antibiotics to get over that aspect of it. But like I said, that's more or less like treating a symptom. At that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's all like any other virus, keeping hydrated, keeping your electrolytes in order, keeping fevers down, and then, like I said, treating the pneumonias that come. And then, like I said, a big thing was the proning.
Yeah.
With that, a lot of it was being on your back for that long when you're intubated. Everything works with gravity, so you're on your back. It's going to pull to the dorsal portion of your lungs. So when you flip that, everything starts to go to the front or spread out, at least. You know what I mean? So it was crazy. Like, you could have people that were their oxygen saturation, normally you want it to be 90 or above. Their oxygen saturation even intubated, you should be 100% if you're intubated. You're getting oxygen directly to the source.
Right.
These people couldn't even get them to the 90s, even intubated, and then you prone them, and they're up in the high 90s. It was wild how quickly you could get things turned around.
It's so crazy that prone ended, like, just body movement ended up being something that was incredibly helpful.
Right, just the position that you're in. I forget what other. I think it's ARDS is the main other thing that had been used for a long time. It's acute respiratory distress syndrome, I do believe it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because the reason I asked that is because you heard so many things like hydrochloroquine, chloroquine, or
we didn't really see any of that around here. The other thing that a lot of people would do was you'd get obviously you would get a whole influx of vitamins and stuff. But I mean, that's all stuff that your body needs. And when you're having high fevers, you're not getting the intake, and then the body's all about give and take. So when one system is screwing up, other systems are going to try to compensate and then eventually burn out because they're being stressed too much. Yeah, so your body's going to deplete of all these resources. So obviously you got to feed everything back into you.
Yeah, so that was my thing, because then it seemed like a lot of people were saying vitamin C, vitamin D, and zinc.
Yeah, and that was for sure. Everybody got that too.
Yeah.
But like I said, I mean, that's all stuff that your body needs. I mean, everybody knows that that vitamin C helps with your immunity, but also, like I said, I mean, it's just your body's going to deplete everything because it's fighting something off.
So when everybody was touting that kind of stuff as the cure, like, because you got all these people with their crazy conspiracies. They're like, this thing is just a cure. Like, no, your body's just depleted of that, so you're gonna need it to survive.
Right, and not everybody, especially in America, we have terrible nutrition. So I mean,
awful.
Half the stuff we're intaking isn't even remotely close to what our body actually needs.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, a lot of vitamins and stuff that people take, it all depends on if it's water soluble or fat soluble, things like that. Because any vitamin that you take that's water soluble, once your body gets its fill, you pee it out. Mm-hmm. So a lot of vitamins that people take are very expensive urine.
Yeah, because once you hit a certain amount,
you're going to pee the rest of it out, and it's not going to do anything. But then you also can run into some dangers with that too, because if it's not water soluble, there is such a thing as too much of a good thing. I mean,
you can poison yourself with too much vitamin.
Yeah, with too
you
much.
can poison yourself with too much water.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There were people that died in basic training because they got water poisoning.
Yeah, well,
how crazy does that sound? Water poisoning.
Well, and that's even like it was probably at least 5-6 years ago where you heard about the kid who was in a frat and they were making him chug water as part of his initiation, and he freaking died.
It's so crazy how many people don't know about that, because I probably never would have known about that if it wasn't for going into basic training, because they had somebody die, so they were like, hey, drink a lot of water, but not too much.
Right.
It made me nervous for the first little while in basic training. I was like, well, how much is too much?
Is this too much? Because I'm thirsty.
I need more information. I'm a little panicked now. And now I try to drink a gallon of water a day, and I'm like, wow, that's a lot of water.
Yeah.
It makes me think, like, how much water did you drink to poison yourself? Because it's hard for me to drink a gallon. I try to drink a gallon of water a day, and that's hard.
I come pretty close. I've always been the kind of person that's always thirsty, though. Like, if I don't have a drink within arm's reach, I'm like, all right, I gotta get something to drink. Like, I can't be without a drink right now.
Yeah.
And so I pretty much drink coffee, water, and then beer. That's about it. So yeah, I drink pretty close to a gallon most days.
Yeah. Well, a gallon of fluids, not necessarily just water.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty close to a gallon of water for the most part.
Yeah. That's pretty much predominantly what I drink most of the time now is water.
It all depends on how much coffee I've had that day. If I've been trying to cut back, 'cause there for a while, like especially if I was at work, I would drink like 8 to 10 cups of coffee at work.
What's crazy is it like, and I understand why you would, the caffeine, stay awake, you're getting your ass kicked, but it's also bad for your nerves to pump yourself full of that much caffeine.
And honestly, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just because I've always liked coffee and I've always been an avid coffee drinker. I just never really felt like the caffeine is what did it for me. I feel like the warmth more than anything.
Yeah.
And the fact that I like the taste of it too, but I feel like the warmth more than anything wakes me up. I mean, I'm sure the caffeine has something to do with it.
Yeah.
But
Curiosity question: you drink your coffee black?
no, milk and sugar,
Yeah,
regular sugar, regular milk. I don't
Yeah.
like the fancy creamers and shit.
No,
It's too sweet.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
too sweet.
I was just curious because so many I drink coffee every once in a blue moon now.
At work, I do just regular sugar. At home, we do this stevia cane sugar blend.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. I mean,
I
it's
drink-
obviously a little bit better than regular sugar, but
Yeah, I drink it black most of the time now, except for when I'm at work at Garden Grill because their coffee is fucking strong.
really,
Yeah, and actually for that I squirt caramel in it.
yeah. If I had to go without cream or sugar, like if I had to pick one, I would go without the sugar for sure. I like the thickness, the creaminess that straight milk gives the coffee.
There was another point I wanted to get to with the COVID, but I can't remember what the fuck it is now. Just because it was so prevalent. But with my COVID experience, I do want to touch on this. Like, the worst thing for me was back pain.
And that was a large complaint too. It was so weird too. Like general consensus, even especially a lot of the people that had the more milder versions where they didn't necessarily need to be hospitalized for it, or even the ones that had to be hospitalized but weren't ICU patients, was just how much it knocked you down. Like you're just tired, body aches.
Yeah.
My back actually, crushed people.
Like, my back actually hurt.
Right, like crushed people. And.
But I did lose my taste or smell.
And that was a really big one. But yeah, it wasn't a for sure. I mean, if you lost your taste or smell, it was almost guaranteed you did have it. But there was plenty of people that didn't lose their taste or smell that still obviously had it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was real wild. The kind of flip of the coin aspect that it had too, where there would be some people that, being in the ER, you see a lot of repeat patients, especially in a small community hospital. A lot of people from the area. So people with chronic diseases and other chronic issues, you get to know them because whenever they have flare-ups of things, you see them. Some of the people that had, terrible lung issues or, especially the really, really bad COPD and other things like that, you're like, man, if this person gets it like this, they're probably one of the ones that's probably going to die. They don't take care of themselves. They have really bad lung problems anyways. Some of them, they would get it and there would just be almost nothing, almost no side effects whatsoever.
That was the other thing I wanted to talk
and
to you
then
about.
all of a sudden you would get somebody who, like, we had a nurse that was 24, 23, pregnant, healthy as could be, and she ended up rocked and proned on a ventilator for for like a week.
How terrifying!
Like like I said, it was so much of a flip of the coin to how bad you were going to get it. It was wild.
What's crazy about that to me too is the dad could go see her.
Yeah, pretty much everywhere. If you were COVID positive, there was zero visitation. I mean, you got to. We were just doing anything we could to cut down the spread.
That part just had to be a nightmare for him though, just because you got your kid and your wife.
Right.
Hey,
Luckily,
Jacob, would you mind handing me one of the stouts out of there?
Actually, I'll take that French toast one too.
French toast.
Mine's in the door of the bottle.
And then just any one that's not the PJs. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
And I'll take that breakfast stout one.
But yeah, so like I said, it was just such a flip of the coin as to what aspect you were going to get. It was really weird too because a lot of the time, like I said, you kind of figured the people with the really terrible
pre-existing condition,
especially lung issues, you would have always thought like these are the ones that are if they get it, it's going to get them.
Well, and
but in my personal experience, I kind of feel like the diabetics were the ones that got it the worst.
Yeah. I actually heard that. And that's one thing I was going to bring up, though. Like, you were talking about the lung issues. Like, I had read a thing that said, so correct me if I'm wrong here, but I had read a thing that's, somebody told me, a respiratory therapist actually told me that one of the weird things that COVID does is it prevents, so oxygen normally, is it the hemoglobin it connects to, and that travels oxygen through your body?
Yeah, that's actually how we measure your oxygen saturation. Like when you hear people say O2 sat, we're not actually measuring your oxygen in blood. That we're measuring there's an infrared beam that goes through your skin to look at your hemoglobin, and each hemoglobin cell can carry, I think, 4 oxygen cells or whatever the hell it is, or so it can see how much oxygen your hemoglobin is carrying at that point.
Yeah.
So if it's doing its job and carrying 100% of it, or what it's doing.
So one of the things I was told Corota did was it prevented oxygen from attaching to the hemoglobin and letting it circulate through your body.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's certainly possible. I mean, obviously there was just the whole aspect of it just being in your lungs specifically too. So it's just not
but maybe that's what would help make you feel weak, stuff like that. But so the reason I was bringing that up is because something I heard was that in certain studies, it seemed like it wasn't read as a fact, but in certain studies, it seemed like nicotine would actually prevent that from happening.
I had actually heard from more than one person or more than one source that smokers were actually having a better time on average with COVID than non-smokers.
Right.
Like what you would think that anybody who's doing damage to their lungs on a regular basis is going to get absolutely crushed by this. But no, I had actually heard that as well, that you were some heavy smokers. So I don't know if it was something about it, the way it was coating your lungs, or what what was going on. But I had actually heard that they were doing better, or maybe they were just, their body is already used to dealing with less oxygen, or buildup of other things, toxins and things like that. But I had actually heard the same thing.
Yeah, that's one of the things I want to bring up, because I heard that when you told me about the COPD and heavy smokers, that you thought like these are our regular heavy smokers, COPD people, and they actually seem to be okay.
Right. No, I mean, like I said, given
we're not doctors, we're not preaching that as fact.
Right, and there's going to be outliers of everything, too. I mean, obviously, there was some people that were terrible COPD people that got it and did end up dying.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was wild that it didn't seem like that was, like, the worst of the worst that got it. I feel like diabetics were definitely the worst of the worst that got it. But, I mean, diabetes wreaks havoc on your entire freaking body anyways.
Yeah, from everything I heard, like, obesity, which tends to lead to diabetes,
to type 2,
tended to be like the worst case scenario for people if you were obese.
Well, I mean, it messes with the whole healing process. Like, so I mean, I guess that would most of the time in diabetes, when it messes with the healing process, it has to deal with like wounds. You'll get like diabetic ulcers, and you just cannot get these wounds to heal on people. But I mean, I guess it makes sense that it would cross over to, I mean, if you're having damage to your lungs, I mean, why would your body repair itself any better in the lungs than it does, say, on a diabetic ulcer on your foot? You know what I mean?
Yeah. But maybe if nicotine somehow just prevented it from doing that, it was making the oxygen travel better. I mean, it seems like...
Or like I say, it sounds more like even if it wasn't making it travel better, it was just you were used to it not traveling well anyways.
Yeah, that's true. That reminds me of a story from when I was in the Air Force. They put you in a... what's it called? Is it a hyperbaric chamber where they take the oxygen out?
Hyperbaric chamber usually is like
it pumps oxygen in. So that's not what it was. So they wanted us...
I would imagine it could work both ways, though. I mean, if you're able to pump oxygen in, it's a vacuum is what it is. So, I mean, you could...
So in one of my trainings at Shepherd Air Force Base, one of the tests, I don't know if it was necessarily a test. It wasn't a test because you couldn't pass or fail.
They were just fucking with you.
Well, they just wanted you to understand what like hypoxia was.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they put you in this chamber and they started sucking the oxygen out, and they gave you like a paper that you could like do all like it was like tests, like simple math questions, or simple questions
to show how quickly your brain will fucking shut down.
Right. So and they were like, and a lot of people, they start to feel high. So me, when I went into the Air Force, I was a drinker, and before I joined the Air Force, I smoked a lot of weed, and I hadn't done any of that for a very long time because when I joined, I was under 21.
Right.
So I wasn't allowed to drink even when I got to the training stations. So I was excited for this. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna feel a little fucked up. This is gonna be fun.
Lose a couple brain cells naturally. Cool.
Yeah. But so they put us in there and we're taking the test, and there's people in there with you with oxygen, and they put the oxygen mask on you once you start to go hypoxic. And
Right.
So we're taking the test, and they're talking to people, and I see people falling out, and I'm like, oh man, I can't wait till this hits me. And everybody's like, they're showing me other people's papers, and it's just like scribbles now. And I think I was number 4, and they're like, number 4, how you doing? I'm like, I'm fine. When's it hit? And I just keep answering the questions and everything.
Am I the only one getting oxygen? Like,
yeah. So finally they just and I'm like I feel fine the whole time. And so the guy comes over the speaker, and he is like, yeah, we'll see what your paper looks like. And then they actually stop it. They're like, okay, that's long enough. And they stop it, and they take my paper, and they're like, huh, you got all these right. And I'm like, you guys ripped me off. I was supposed to catch a buzz in here, and nothing happened.
bullshit.
This is some bullshit. I want you to turn this fucker back on.
You don't turn it off till I pass out.
Yeah, like literally, they never had to put the oxygen mask on me, and I just sat there, and then it was over, and I felt severely let down. And maybe that's because of how long I smoked cigarettes.
Your years of depriving your own brain of oxygen, it knew what to do.
It knew what to do. It's like, we got this. We can recover.
We don't really need that much oxygen anymore. We got used to not having it.
All those years of hotboxing. Oh my god! I remember though. I was very upset.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, I never.
That's wild that's a thing they do. I mean, it makes sense because in any situation, like training situation like that, where you want to experience something like that, so that you get the fear out of the situation initially, so that when you're in the situation, you know what it feels like, so that you can have better reactions because you know what's going on. It's not the first time you're experiencing it, kind of thing.
Exactly. One, that, and two, I also think it was to show you, like, hey man, no matter what happens, put your oxygen mask on
Right.
first. Okay. Like they tell you in the plane all the time, they're like, put yours on before you put your kids on.
Right.
Because if you fail to put your kids on in time and you don't have your oxygen, then you're going to be out.
Well,
and I can tell you from what I saw with the other people, put that shit on.
Right.
Because when I saw the other people, I was like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like they asked this one guy, like, they're like, hey, number 6, what's your name? And he was like, 5. I was like, did he say 5? Like, what? Like, you seriously, with lack of oxygen, you have no idea what's happening, except for me apparently. But
Right.
it's wild.
Yeah. Yeah, and it does not take long for it to
It doesn't.
fuck you up.
It does not at all. Like, some people were falling out like just like a minute in.
Right.
So wild. Let's take it to a little bit of a lighter note. I want to know, do you have Disney Plus?
I've been waiting to talk about this.
So I'm not very many episodes in, but have you been watching WandaVision?
You haven't finished it?
No.
Did you even start Falcon?
No.
What? Guys, this is over. We're shutting this fucking off right now. We're gonna start. We're gonna finish WandaVision, then we're gonna watch the first episode of Falcon Winter Soldier,
And then we're gonna get back. I haven't really watched anything lately.
How many episodes in are you?
Like 3 or 4.
Oh my god!
My question,
it's
though,
just now getting good.
yeah, for sure. My
The
question,
first 2 to 3 episodes were bullshit.
yeah, I honestly,
They were good still.
because I didn't hate them as much as people made it out to be.
Right.
You should hate
I
it.
liked the whole how they, it started with like the Dick Van Dyke, like each episode had its almost like theme. I thought that was cool, and then like each episode they did try to do like at least a little snippet of where you knew something was going on.
Yeah. My question is, because you read comics more than anybody I know.
Right.
So is this House of M?
It certainly, there's definitely a lot of similarities for sure. There's obviously going to be a lot of differences, but I fucking hope it's House of M.
Yeah.
Because
it's one of your favorite comic book stories.
Well, not only is it an awesome comic book story, but it would be a perfect way to bring the X-Men into the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, well, and they brought in Quicksilver. I saw that.
I hate that you haven't fucking watched it.
Oh, he's so mad.
There's so many things that I need to say about this that I can't.
Oh, no, you can, because I don't care. I'll watch it. But you know what we're going to do real quick? Because I'm going to take a piss break, let you collect your thoughts, and then we'll get to it. But you can talk about it for sure.
I got to pee too, but yeah, there's things I need to say about this.